Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome back. It's Anna, and I need you to really hear this today. Something is shifting in your life right now, and you might not even realize it yet, but there's this quiet transformation happening. Something that could change how you see yourself, how you feel in your own skin, and honestly, how the world starts to respond to you. You have no idea, but you're going to be the hottest and richest you've ever been. And I don't just mean in the ways you might think. Let me explain what I'm sensing here. There's this moment, maybe it happened yesterday or last week, where you looked at yourself, really looked, and something felt um, different. Not worse, just different. Like you've been carrying yourself through your days on autopilot, and suddenly you caught your own reflection and thought, when did I stop seeing myself clearly? Some people experience this as a kind of restlessness, this feeling in your chest that won't quite settle. You might be sitting at your desk doing the same tasks you always do. And there's this quiet voice that says, there has to be more than this. And here's what I want you to understand that feeling. It's not dissatisfaction, it's awakening. Let's pause for a moment because this feels important, really important. When I say you're going to be the hottest you've ever been, I'm not talking about fitting into some external standard. I'm talking about that magnetic quality that happens when someone finally stops performing is less than hash zero. 5 hashes greater than stops trying to be what everyone else needs and just exists fully, unapologetically. You may notice yourself pulling back from situations that used to drain you. Maybe you've been saying no more often, or there's a conversation you keep rehearsing in your head, one you haven't had yet but you know is coming. There's this tension before certain interactions now. Like your body knows something your mind hasn't quite accepted. That's growth calling you forward. And the richness I'm talking about, it's not just money, though that might shift too. It's about finally valuing yourself in a way you haven't before. It's possible you've been undercharging for your work, underselling your ideas, or accepting relationships that give you crumbs when you deserve the whole meal. Some situations in life teach us to make ourselves smaller. We learn to dim our light so others feel comfortable. We learn to apologize for taking up space. But something is changing now. You might have reread a text message recently, um, one that would have made you anxious a few months ago. And instead of spiraling, you just didn't respond, or you responded with a calmness that surprised even you. That's not coldness. That's clarity. This reflection invites you to consider, what if the version of yourself you've been trying to become is actually just you without all the layers of people pleasing and fear? Let me slow down for a second because I want you to really sit with this. There's a moment that might be coming as less than hash zero. 5 hashes greater than, or maybe it's already here, where you're walking home or driving or just standing in your kitchen and you realize, I don't have to keep explaining myself to people who aren't really listening. It can feel like the tightness in your chest that you've carried for months suddenly loosens just a little, just enough to breathe deeper. Some people experience a shift in how they're perceived without changing anything external. They stop trying to prove their worth, and somehow others start seeing it more clearly. It's not magic, it's energy, not in a mystical sense, but in the very real sense of how we carry ourselves, how we speak, what we tolerate and what we don't. When you stop seeking validation, you become, well, undeniable. Now, about this richness, you may be on the edge of recognizing your own value in a work situation or in a creative project you've been hesitant about. There might be an opportunity that requires you to step forward to claim something you've earned. And your old self would have hesitated, would have waited for permission. But this version of you, the one that's emerging, doesn't wait for permission anymore. It's possible you'll have a conversation soon that shifts how someone sees you professionally, not because you performed or proved anything, but because you finally stopped undervaluing what you bring. You might state your needs clearly, your boundaries firmly, your worth plainly, and watch how the dynamic changes. Hold on. I'm not sure why, but this next part feels important. There's a silence between you and someone in your life right now. Maybe you used to fill those silences with explanations, with apologies, with making yourself smaller so they'd feel bigger. But lately, you've been letting the silence sit, and in that silence, you're finding your own voice again. This reflection invites you to consider what it would feel like to stop performing, to stop curating yourself for approval, to just be, because here's the truth about becoming the hottest version of yourself. It happens when you stop caring about being hot, when you stop measuring yourself against impossible standards, when you look in the mirror and see a whole person, not a project that needs fixing. Some people are noticing changes in you already. They might not say it directly, but you can feel it. The way someone holds your gaze a little longer, the way a conversation shifts when you enter the room, the way your opinion suddenly carries more weight. You're not doing anything different externally, but everything is different internally, and that's what people feel. Let's talk about the financial side of this for a moment. In some situations, when we start valuing ourselves differently, opportunities shift. It might be a work decision you make that prioritizes your well-being over appearing loyal to a situation that drains you. It might be finally charging what you're actually worth. It might be saying no to things that don't align is less than #0. 5 hashes greater than, which creates space for things that do. Richness isn't just about money in the bank, though that can change too. It's about feeling abundant in your daily life. It's waking up and not immediately feeling behind. It's making choices from desire rather than fear. You may notice yourself spending differently soon, not recklessly, but intentionally. Investing in yourself in ways you wouldn't have before, that class you've been thinking about, that thing that makes you feel more like yourself. You're starting to see these as necessities, not luxuries, because you're understanding finally that you are worth the investment. There's something happening with how you're showing up in relationships too. You might be pulling back from people who only show up when they need something, not dramatically, not with big confrontations, just quietly creating distance. And in that space, you're finding room for connections that actually fill you up. This reflection invites you to consider, what if the right people have been waiting for you to show up as yourself? Not the version that tries so hard, not the version that performs, just you. It's possible that as you become more magnetic to yourself, you become more magnetic to others. Not everyone, and that's the point. The right ones. I want to come back to something This idea of becoming the hottest you've ever been, society teaches us that hotness is external, that it's about looking a certain way. But anyone who's ever been truly attracted to someone knows is less than #0. 5 hash is greater than. It's not about perfection. It's about presence. It's about someone who knows themselves, who likes themselves, who doesn't need your approval to feel whole. That's what you're becoming. You may notice yourself caring less about how you're perceived and more about how you feel. You might stop checking your reflection obsessively. Stop comparing yourself to others online. Stop trying to optimize every angle of your existence. And paradoxically, that's when you become most attractive. There's a moment coming, maybe in a few weeks or months, where you'll look back at this time and recognize it as a turning point. You might not see it clearly right now, but you're in the middle of your own transformation. And transformation isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just showing up differently, speaking up when you used to stay quiet, staying quiet when you used to over-explain, trusting yourself more than you trust everyone else's opinions of you. This reflection invites you to consider, what would your life look like if you truly believed you were enough? Not in some distant future when you've achieved more, but right now, today, in this moment. Some people experience this shift and they panic a little, because when you start valuing yourself, some relationships can't survive that. Some situations can't contain the fuller version of you, and that can feel scary, but it can also feel freeing. You remain in control of your choices here. Nobody is forcing you to change. To grow is less than #0. 5 hash is greater than to step into this fuller version of yourself. But something in you knows it's time. You can feel it. Take what resonates from this, leave what doesn't. Trust your inner knowing about what's true for you. Before we close, I want to ask you something. What's one way you've been undervaluing yourself lately? Maybe it's in your work. Maybe it's in a relationship. Maybe it's just in how you talk to yourself. Drop it in the comments if you feel called to share. Sometimes naming it is the first step to changing it. And here's another question. When was the last time you felt truly magnetic? Not performing magnetism, but just being yourself and feeling good about it. I'm curious about your experiences. You're becoming the richest version of yourself, not just financially, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually, in the sense of feeling whole. You're becoming the hottest version of yourself, not by changing your exterior, but by finally inhabiting your interior. This is happening, whether you fully believe it yet or not. And the beautiful thing is, you don't have to do anything except stop getting in your own way. Stop dimming yourself. Stop apologizing for existing fully. Trust yourself with this. You know what you need to do. You know what needs to shift. You know who you're becoming. And it's going to be, honestly, extraordinary. Take what resonates. Trust your path. You've got this. I'll see you in the next one. And remember, you're already everything you need to be. You're just finally letting yourself see it. I don't sell futures. I build architects. Not predictions, just the naked truth for the hard ones. Stay magic. Stay in the now.